What is going on, troopers? Welcome to the Trooper Transmission. And today we got my man, Boom Boom 8, one of the best call signs and alter egos inside Fit Nerd Academy, but he also goes by
Mm.
Christopher. So, my man, thank you for taking the time to share your journey and your experience in the Academy. Thanks for the time.
Yeah, happy to.
Yeah. So, let's wind that clock back. Let's just say a year. What was going on in your life? What was going on in your health and fitness that inspired you to start looking for ways to make a change?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I've sort of dabbled with health and fitness. I've gone in and out. I worked with a trainer right before I got married. So that was 12 years ago. That was like the healthiest I had been. But even that, there were parts of it that I really liked, parts that I didn't. It just didn't quite fit. And then after that, we got married, we had kids, things kind of went downhill, got crazy. Fitness totally took a backseat to everything else. Um, and then my wife and I got into Peloton and we got a Peloton bike. We did that for a while. That was really exciting, but it still wasn't enough. I didn't feel like I was really fully engaged. And I said to you, I was hitting plateaus and I'm like, I feel like I should be doing more than just getting on a bike. Um, but there wasn't anything that was really exciting. And then I came across one of your videos. I was like, that's cool. Like it gamifies fitness. It makes it fun. It makes it different. It relates to me. And it takes it from just being cardio to actually integrating things like strength training, nutrition, supplementation. It's like the whole package all in one and something that's relatable and fun. And that to me has been the key is making it fun, making it something that I have somebody to talk to regularly. So if I have questions, it's just been great.
Yeah, absolutely. What was the thing that you realized was missing? You kind of alluded to it a little bit, but you'd done a lot of Peloton, you'd done a lot of biking, and for a while, and this is part of why we gave you your call sign that we did, there was the plateau to breakthrough. What was one of the biggest things that was a shift for you, whether it was mentally and or physically or just tactically, that enabled you to really start to build that momentum?
Yeah, I think there were two things really. So from a tactical perspective, like really diving in and looking at the nutrition, spending time with you and going through things. Like we identified that for lunch, I was a snacky kind of guy. My wife and I do like this bento type lunch. And we're like, there's a bunch of stuff in there that maybe isn't helping. And maybe if we bump the protein and do a couple things, that was a big help. Um, but then mentally for me, it was sort of the having the support of the community, having again a one-on-one coach that I could talk to, and just getting over some of these hurdles because I realized that the more I'm working out, the more that I'm taking care of my body, the better my brain feels. And we talked about sort of that inner dark side where it's like it's so easy to just get wrapped up in that and to get caught up in the, might as well just give up. You're not going to make it. Just quit now. And so overcoming some of those mental hurdles has also been really, really important. And I'm able to do that better when I'm sticking to my schedule, when I'm eating what I should be eating and taking care of my body.
Yeah. I love that you talk about the idea of that inner dark side. I'm picturing Return of the Jedi when Palpatine is talking about your journey to the dark side will be complete. And I just picture in my own self, right, when you want to skip the workout or you want to stop the workout. And I can almost picture Palpatine just on your shoulder and my shoulder and everyone's shoulder telling you to give up. And I'd be curious for you, you mentioned the community. What about a community helps you keep going? Obviously, a coach too, but what are the components that you notice the most that help you overcome that side that normally would have pulled you down and been like, yeah, you know what? I'm just going to call it quits, try again in a couple months.
Yeah. So I haven't engaged a ton with the community, but even just a little bit that I have, everybody's so supportive. Even if you don't post a lot, I go through and I scan and you see yourself in some of the other posts. You see people saying, like, oh, I had this struggle. And then even if you just read the threads and everybody's like, oh, yeah, me too. And this is what I did. And this is what got me through it. So that has been a big part of it. And then this month's challenge, I didn't realize how competitive I was until I saw people moving up the scale and I was kind of staying. I wasn't really moving. It was a little blip in sort of my workouts. I was like, wait a second, I got to get on board. Like, I got to get this going. And so ever since then, I don't know if you've noticed, but I've kicked it into high gear and I'm like, I'm not going to be left behind.
Yeah.
So it turns into like this little squad that we're all kind of cheering each other on, and it's that healthy competition.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And as a Peloton user, that probably also kicks you into gear where you're like,
Yes.
oh, I'm at 35. I need to get to 37. And
Yes.
so
Yeah.
it makes sense that played off for you. Curious,
Yep.
what would you say are some of the biggest achievements or wins that you've had, even just in the first few months of everything?
Um, again, I'm so the healthiest was right around my wedding. That was my best weight. Like I felt really good. I'm now 2 pounds away from that again. And I was 30 pounds. So, that to have that alone is a huge win. Um, but I think, again, it's the mental side of things that is almost a bigger win for me. It's those little moments where the dark side comes out and you're like, no, come on. Like, I can do this. I have done this. I've gotten to this point. I haven't come this far just to come this far. Like, let's keep going. Let's keep pushing. So there's been the physical wins. Like, obviously, I feel better. My clothes feel better. Like, I think my family has been more inspired. We're all sort of getting back into fitness and eating better. And so that's been great. But again, the mental thing, number one for me.
Yeah. Curious what you would say your three keys to success are, given your journey and your patience and your persistence. If you were talking to your younger self 2 years ago, 3 years ago, what would you say would be the three biggest things to really focus on?
Yeah, I think number one is to really just be open about the challenges that I'm having. I think a lot of times we feel embarrassed. It's like, oh, I'm not getting this thing, or I'm not doing as much as I should be, or as I said to you, like the other day, I wasn't able to do a sit up. I wasn't able to do a proper sit up. I finally did one, and that's the first thing I had. I was like, I got to take a video and I got to send it to Paul.
Yeah,
Like he
that was
needs to see
awesome.
this. And so it's overcoming those things. And if we can overcome the mental challenges, that's kind of number one. Number two, and this is sort of my motto going into this year, is just do it. Just do it. Don't wait. Don't put it off. Just jump into it. Um, and then I think the third key is really finding something that ticks all the boxes for you, that is fun, that addresses the nutrition side, that, really gets into how cool it can be and finding exercise that you enjoy.
Yeah. Yeah. You make a good point in not settling for just one or two boxes to be ticked, right? It's
Yeah.
so easy to settle and say, "Oh, it's good enough."
Yep.
Yeah, it's close. At least it's close, or at least it's, you know, I pictured dating and they check off a couple boxes. Yeah, there's a couple red flags, but they're checking off a couple boxes, and it's just take the time. But
Yeah.
a key point to that is to try a bunch of different things and
Yep.
just use the scientific method to say, do I like this? Parts of it. Do I like this? Okay, that tastes a little bit better. Almost like the what's that story with the bears and the gal eats all the porridge and then finds the bear.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This
exactly.
one's just right.
You got to
Yep.
find your fitness porridge, and I
Yep.
think you've found that, and you're just cruising along. So really excited to watch you continue to progress, beat that boom boom drum for
Yeah.
really ever, but especially in 2025. So I appreciate the time and appreciate you sharing your story, man.
Awesome. Thanks so much.